Why having a soul tie with the narcissist can be the death of you. I feel very compelled to talk about soul ties. I think we understand it generally. I don't think we always understand the spiritual death. What is a soul tie? One, you got to understand what the soul is, right? So it's your mind, it's your will, it's your emotions, it's your experiences. It helps influence your decision making connected to your flesh, in my opinion. Some other people have a different school of thought, but this is mine. When I was growing up in church, I thought that people just had to be physical for there to be a soul tie. Soul ties can be built by spending a lot of time with somebody, exchanging thoughts, ideas, conversation, experiences. That's why the first thing the narc will try to do is to have an overload on your mind through love bombing. And so once they've got you hooked, they can start their torture process, which is the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde phenomenon. And so one day they're nice, one day they're not. I mean, nothing will happen. They just flip on you and you spend the rest of the relationship trying to figure out how you can get them back to how you met them. And then this is when trauma bonding comes into play, because you feel so close to the narc. But if you really take an inventory of all the experiences you've had with them, most of it was pretty traumatic if you really think about it. Most of the experiences are not good. I've often told people when it was a good day with the narc, it was a great day. But when it was bad, you're wondering, where did the person that I love, the person that they showed me, where are they? Maybe I can love them through this. Maybe they're just having a bad day. Well, everybody has their flaws. Those are the things that you reason in your mind. Now, I want to show you how the enemy was able to take something that was designed to happen in covenant relationships, godly marriage, and healthy relationships, and why it's so hard for you to let go. See, we think that God is a fun snatcher, but God is actually pretty smart. There's a reason why he tells us, hey, just go on and keep your cookies in the cookie jar until you're married. Because breaking a soul tie, it's not easy. It takes deliverance, legit. It takes inner healing. And sometimes it might take more than one session, because it was never designed for it to be used outside of an ungodly context. It was not. So that's why it feels like a tearing of the soul. It literally feels like your soul is ripping, because it's like Velcro you're trying to pull apart. That wasn't meant to, because God's idea, it was supposed to be in the confines of marriage, and the confines of healthy relationships and friendships and safe places and safe people. But because of sin and because of the fallen nature of man, here we are in 2025 talking about soul ties, how they form, how to know if you still have one, and how to break. Now, how do you know if you have a soul tie? You're gonna know. Nobody gotta tell you. Even you will be like, what's wrong with me? Be honest with yourself. It's very impossible. Men are wired a little bit differently, and women normally take the brunt of soul ties, because the highest level of soul tie, I'm just going to talk to y'all straight, it usually involves the swapping of DNA of any kind of fluid. Sorry to be graphic, especially when it comes to blood. That's why you see there's such a strong tie between a mother and her child. You ever seen them couples that is highly toxic? They each other. And then they move on. Everybody got their bandage on the next day like nothing wrong. You can't get in the middle of that relationship, especially of abusive relationships. When it get physical, you see the tie that the woman has to the man, or the man has to the woman, because he doesn't just, physical abuse doesn't just happen one way. And you're like, the situation is bad. You know that your life is in the balance, and they just can't seem to let go. Is because there's a very high level soul tie, and soul ties can happen on various levels depending on the activity that has taken place. But if there has been exchange of DNA, yeah, you got a soul tie. It just seems as though this other person has a weird control over you, that you consider their feelings, you consider their thoughts in the decisions that you're getting ready to make. You're probably going to have difficulty trying to focus. There seems to be like this strong emotional tie that you cannot describe. This is why the Bible says, do not awaken love before it's time. Sometimes because we think the love is toxic, that is still not love. And it is love. You probably genuinely love the narcissist. I can't say that the narcissist genuinely loved you, because they don't have that empathy gauge. They don't have enough hormones. They don't have enough physical or spiritual genetics that support them having healthy, loving relationships. They just don't. That's just how they're wired. And so I also want to validate your feelings, because your feelings were real, but the truth is you were manipulated into that position. There are so many things that the Bible tells us that love is. When you begin to examine it, you realize that in the exchange with the narc, they don't have any of those characteristics. As a matter of fact, they have the very opposite. Okay, so let's go more into the trauma bond. There's almost a sense of worship that begins to come over. I had a lot of people leave a lot of comments when I talked about this, that it's impossible to not engage in idolatry when you're dealing with the narc, because there is worship that is involved. Worship that we don't really truly understand in our modern day culture is obsession. The reason why we worship God is because we want him to know we're obsessed with him. We love everything you do. We're your biggest fans. And sometimes it does not mentally make sense that, oh, you can worship another being, because most people think worship, they think it's like going to an altar, kneeling down to a shrine. But the biggest altar is the altar of your heart and the altar of your mind. Okay? All right. This is not up for debate. If you got an issue, take it up with the Lord. I said what I said. If you're ready to be free, if I were you, I would apply some of these truths. So it involves obsession. It's an excessive worship, even when you don't want to. Here are some other signs how you know that you have a soul tie. It's like everything that the narc does has this very strange, strong effect on you. If they don't call you, it's like your whole day is messed up. If they don't text you, you're like wondering where they are, what they're doing. It's very intrusive. It's a lot of intrusive thoughts. It's like you overly take into consideration, and it has such a deep effect on you, what they do, what they don't. I also want to clue you in on this. You know how when you were with the narc, you started to look real skeletorish? Real like, girl, you drinking water? You not taking your vitamins? Like, friend, you okay? Like, you looking real dry. Some of you probably lost a lot of weight. Some of you probably gained a lot. That cortisol is playing games. That is also connected to the soul tie. You got to understand, a soul tie is like a portal, right? That is open from your soul to theirs. That's how serious this is. That's why, you ever seen those couples, they've been together for a long time, they start looking like each other? That's how strong soul ties are. That's what it does. It merges two souls. That's what it's meant to do. Do you have difficulty trying to move on in other relationships? Like, you want to move on. You don't even want to be connected to this person, but something is still holding you. You go out on another date and you still thinking about this narcissist. You are comparing even if it could be a healthy situation to this narcissist, and you're even kind of using it as a measuring stick. If you've done any of those things, then there still might be a very strong tie that really needs to be severed and needs to be taken seriously if you really want to grow and if you really want to heal.